When I first got VR, my friend told me that I have to try out Half-Life Alyx because it was the best game on VR. While most people would have started out with the best game, I did not. I didn't want any other VR game I played to fail to live up to its standard. So I started with other games first. I finally got to Half-Life Alyx to see if what he said was true. Let's see what this game did well to set the bar for future VR games to come. This game's enemies made my experience unique. When I play a game, I usually know what I'm going up against. In Call of Duty, you fight humans, and in Halo, you fight the Covenant. I've never played a Half-Life game before, nor have I really looked at anything involving it. So I walked into the game essentially blind, and I thought I was going to be fighting these stormtrooper-looking dudes. Then in the beginning of the game, I hear word of zombies over a radio.
Wait, there's zombies in this game?
And see this guy slouched over a window who obviously didn't get manicures. I now had no clue who or what I would be fighting. I fought my first real enemies, head crabs.
Ow!
Oh! Head crabs were public enemy #1 for what felt like the whole game.
No. It's still alive.
I can't stress enough to you on how much I really did not like these things. They gave me the creeps. Some other mobs I had some run-ins with were revivers, which are these mythical stingray creatures that would ink when you shoot them.
Hey yo, why you making me ink, bro?
Little bugs, little big bugs, bigger bugs with electric butts, malnourished bugs, this thing named Jeff, this poor man with a headache, all of which are not human. I did eventually fight the Combine.
Oh, yeah, I'm fighting real people now. All right, here we go.
Which, believe it or not, was a relief because bugs. Most of my fights were with some type of beast. So what's my point? My point is that there are a variety of creatures and each have their own characteristics, keeping me frosty in every environment. Head crabs leap onto your head or even attach themselves onto a person, making the body their personal weapon. Those flying stingrays I was talking about would go into dead body, control them, and start doing power moves on you. Jeff can't see. Ripper Jones using air superiority.
Oh my goodness. Hey,
and sometimes you would even see the Combine and the aliens fight each other, who, keep in mind, both wanted to fight you, making for interesting free-for-all scenarios.
so you tell me the bugs and them are going for me?
Yes.
Even just traversing the environment, enemy-free, I still had to watch out for the barnacles hanging around. These were always around, making you maneuver and think in different ways, producing many different challenges.
Bro, how?
The amount of mobs and mechanics they had made sure that the combat never got stale. Right from the start of the game, you get the best item, the Save Your Back gloves. These handy gloves gave you the ability to basically be telekinetic, picking up objects by just pointing at them. In all the games prior, every time I dropped a mag or a gun, I would have to bend over and pick it up. So not having to do that was really nice and gave the game a unique looting system.
Gotta pick them up. Gotta pick them up. Gotta pick them up.
This also makes for some cool gameplay mechanics throughout your session as well, like throwing these grenades back at the enemies. While I can't tell you how many times I accidentally grabbed random objects, these random objects really made me feel like I was in the world of Half-Life Alyx. The worst is when you play a VR game and you can't pick something up that you should be able to pick up. Like this, for example.
Bro, you can't pick this crowbar up?
This usually pulls you straight out of the game. With Half-Life Alyx, I was locked in. The only time I broke free from the immersion is when I would hit my mic or desk. Right from the beginning, you get sucked into the Half-Life world. There was so much more interactability in Half-Life Alyx that many other games failed to implement. The level design and environment was also very detailed. The graphics to the objects that made levels come to life. If a game has an environment that is bland and unbelievable, you no longer feel like you're in that world. Half-Life Alyx does a great job at visual storytelling. You have all of this alien garbage all over the place. There's dust, things are all messy, decay everywhere, and dead bodies, which tell you that this place is suffering. You know from looking around that something big went down in this area. A lot of the environment in this game was a lot bigger than me, like looking up at the ship or a giant door being open, which made me feel like an ant due to its sheer size. This helped sell the fact that an advanced alien species had a major impact on the environment. Half-Life Alyx did a phenomenal job at level design and building a believable environment, which is not always the easiest thing to do. I love when a game gives me a ton of gun options. It's exciting to see one of your favorite IRL guns plopped into VR.
MP44? No way!
Even though other games give you many options when it comes to weapons and attachments, not all the attachments are actually useful, or the majority of guns are terrible, or not fun to use, so you stick to a couple of them anyways. Half-Life Alyx didn't run into that problem. There were only a handful of guns you could play with in Half-Life. You had a pistol, shotgun, and submachine gun. This doesn't sound like a lot of options because it's not. However, the upgrades that you could put on these guns are what made them feel unique and fun. For From extended mags to reflex sights to lasers, each upgrade made your gun look different and it was exciting. I felt a sense of achievement that made me want to upgrade that gun even more.
It's smoking.
And see what else it looked like and how much better it would become. These upgrades kept the guns fresh, making me not mind only having 3 options, especially when I got the grenade launcher at the end of my shotgun, which made me feel like a Terminator. Another plus is that these upgrades were not given to you. You had to earn them by scavenging for resin. If you wanted more ammo and better weapon upgrades, you had to search the environment for these hidden gems. This was enough of a grind to be fun and rewarding, but not such a big task that it becomes tedious and boring. However, there was one weapon I left out, the 1940s ship cannon. I had a lot of fun with this weapon, even though I felt extremely dumb shooting it. Just like having a few guns, there are also only a few gadgets. While playing through Half-Life, the game introduces new consumables and gadgets which include med syringes, grenades, and your hacking tool. All 3 of these items were really useful. I've played many games where the gadgets were thought to be cool, and then you use them and they are completely useless. This game curbs that by giving you only things that are important. Also, one of the coolest gadgets that you can have is the grenade from the claw of this creature that you have to pet in order for you to receive its item. A sign of a good game is when there aren't many bugs. And as we know, AAA titles these days don't really take care of that department. However, Half-Life Alyx was surprisingly bugless. I only ran into one game-breaking bug. For some reason, the lever that was supposed to make this platform lift wouldn't work. So I restarted and then we were on our way again.
And this way, it was bugged.
There were some small glitches like the time I got my hand stuck at a door while fighting.
No, bro, my hand is...
But the game is pretty polished for me to only encounter one game-breaking bug, like the one I mentioned and a few small ones. Companies should strive for this stat. Something that I encountered in other VR games is abusing play space. Let me explain. In Arizona Sunshine, you can abuse the play space just by walking in real life, while not pressing your movement keys, which lets you get to areas that you're not supposed to like this. You also can tilt your head into a wall to get a cheeky look to see what's on the other side. In Half-Life Alyx, all you see is orange, showing that you are out of bounds. This feature makes it so you have to play by the rules and lets you know when your body is clipping into something that it shouldn't be. I'm not really the best at puzzles. However, the puzzles in this game were actually enjoyable. Hacking into this little circle and following power lines to bring electricity to something, or working out a problem to upgrade your weapons wasn't annoying. There was a nice balance between the puzzles which didn't make them feel burdensome. Completing a little puzzle, was nice, giving you ammo and consumables. As the game progressed, so did the puzzles, starting out really easy and then turning into a little bit more of a challenge. The hardest puzzles for me were the globe ones because the joints in my hand don't just move forever and it was hard to keep the laser always pointed on the ball. Oftentimes, I see games have the same 2 puzzles and they put them in as much as possible, which makes them tedious and way too repetitive. Half-Life had a handful of different ones. I usually don't buy a game because of its story. I buy a game because I think it looks fun. I'll be honest, the story wasn't what made me enjoy this game as much as I did. It was everything else I said. I was told to save Alex's father.
Come on. Oh.
Get to the ship and meet the stockbroker.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here.
I was fine with that. The basic story of the game is good enough to play it without liking or knowing anything about Half-Life. What this game did well was not shoving lore or story details down your throat if you didn't want to hear it. Half-Life Alyx lets you piece things together, making it interesting if you do or don't like the story. By the way, if you are the type of person that needs to know every little detail about the game, there is no shortage of that. Through my research on the game, I've come to really like the story and its lore actually. Before I get a game, I usually look at the reviews on Steam, and everything that I experienced, these people did too. All of the things that made this game overwhelmingly positive are things other developers should implement into their VR games moving on. Half-Life Alyx is a solid game that does pretty much everything right. It has a really active modding community, so I may try out some mods later on, but that's a problem for another day. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I've been experimenting with new types of styles and videos, so moving on, you most likely will get something different.